Hey everyone, I'm Alison.
I'm Bryce, and we're Better Half Reviews.
And today we are talking about Barnyard Roundup. It's a game by James Hudson from Druid City Games and Skybound Tabletop.
In Barnyard Roundup, you are a farmhand and you're trying to collect the most farm animals, but you want to stay away from those pesky crows. And the farmhand with the most points at the end of the game wins.
Alright, so let's take it up. So to set up your game of Barnyard Roundup, for each player playing, you need to have a robber token and an excuse me token. The rest can go back in the box. So we'll have 1, 2, 3 sets, and you have the scarecrow.
Before adding the scarecrow token, take all the other tokens, place them face down, mix them up, and everybody draws one token. Then you add the scarecrow token face down, and mix them all up again.
Now you'll deal out 6 cards to everybody, and these cards will go off to the side.
Once everybody has dealt their 6 cards, you take 8 random cards from the deck and remove them from the game. On your turn, you'll do 3 actions. First, you'll pass cards to another player. Second, you'll play a burglar token if you have one and if you want to. Third, you'll draw cards and end your turn.
So on your turn, you'll choose to play a certain amount of cards and pass it to the player. You can choose 1 or more matching cards from your hand. So here I have 3 chickens. If I want to, I could just play 2, or I could play all 3. I'll pass it to this player and they'll say, I have 3 chickens. They need to decide if I'm telling the truth or if I am bluffing. If they guess it correctly, they get to put the cards in their pen. If they guess it wrong, they go back to me. So say they called it out that I was telling the truth, they get to keep these. And these are point values at the end of the game.
The pen is an area in front of each player where they play cards that they've collected during the game. At the end of the game, these cards will be points for the player. Just one little note on bluffing, I could call these farm animals anything I wanted to. So I could pass them to another player and say I have 3 goats. If they think I'm telling the truth, and they're wrong, I get to keep the chickens. There are 2 cards that allow you to break the rule that all the cards you pass to a player have to match. The copycat takes on the character of any animals it's with, so saying that I have 4 chickens would be truthful in this case. And as before, whoever wins this hand, all these animals go in the pen, and the copycat is counted as a chicken at the end of the game.
The second card that you can play that doesn't have to match with the other cards is the crow, and it's worth negative points, so this is the bad card. So I could have this all together and say that I have 4 chickens and place it down, and they have to call me out on my bluff or if I'm telling the truth. If the player is correct in guessing, then they get to keep the good cards and I have to take the bad card. If they are incorrect, they get to keep the crow and I get to have the good cards. So remember, when you're playing, you can't play 2 different animal types and put it down unless you have that crow or the copycat.
Once I've passed the cards to another player and they've guessed whether I'm bluffing or not, I can then play a burglar token. Here I actually have a burglar token and say I want to play it. When the burglar token is played, it lets me attempt to steal cards from another player's hand. So I'll choose maybe this player and I'll say, give me all your goats. If that player has any goats, like they do here, this goat goes into my pen. The player that was robbed gets to draw back up to their hand limit. However, if I ask for an animal that they didn't have in their hand, but they have crows, I get all the crows from their hand, and I place them in my pen. If they don't have the animal I asked for, or any crows, no cards are exchanged. Finally, my turn is almost over. I draw back up to my hand limit, and then the play passes.
You continue playing through the rounds until the deck is completely empty. So there are 2 other tokens in the game. There's the excuse me token and the scarecrow token. The excuse me token lets you interrupt a player's passing of cards. Say this player is passing cards to this other player and saying they have 2 chickens. I am here, I can say excuse me, and now they have to pass the cards over to me, and I can determine if they're telling the truth or bluffing. That way I could possibly gain cards. The scarecrow token comes into play when you first draw it. So if you draw the scarecrow token, it scares away up to 3 crows in your pen. So let's say that I did have 3 crows. You can deal these crows out to each of the other players. However, you can't give the players more than 1 each, so if you have any left over, it's discarded from the game. And once you use the token, remember you have to put it back in the pile and mix it back up.
So you might be wondering how you get these tokens. There's what's called the Farmer's Pity Rule. Every time you have 3 crows you collect into your pen, you immediately draw 1 token.
So when you get down to the last card, the game ends immediately when this is drawn.
If you had any crows in your hand when the game end is triggered, those get added to your pen. However, the other animals in your hand don't get added to your pen.
And then you need to calculate up the score for everybody and see who wins. Alright, so just for an example of scoring, let's say that we ended with these animals in our pen. There are animal bonus cards to give out. Whoever has the most of a certain type of animal will get that bonus. There's also a set bonus card that you can receive for every complete set of animals you have. So that's talking about, I have 1 chicken, 1 goat, 1 sheep, 1 pig, 1 cow. That is 1 complete set. If I had another complete set, I would earn another card. However, since I don't have a second goat, I don't have a complete set. Add up all the numbers here and subtract whatever crows you have as well.
And like we said before, if you had collected any copycats, say I had collected this copycat with this set of pigs, the copycat would score the same number as the pig, so this copycat would be worth 4. However, if this copycat had been collected with the chickens, the copycat would only be worth 1. The copycat isn't counted for either of these bonuses.
The person with the highest score is the winner. That's how you play the game, so let's talk about how we feel about it. Bryce, what are some of the pros?
Well, this is a great family game. Every time we've played it, we've laughed a lot.
Probably mostly because he just can't really bluff very well.
Yes, I can.
We'll get into that later. But yeah, so it's a great family game. It has a very inviting theme and fun artwork, and like the numbers are big and the animals are big on the cards.
I think a lot of people can just pick this up really easily.
Mm-hmm. So with this being like a family-friendly game, I love that this game is very easy and it could be used for like homeschooling, working on like numbers and counting, putting together the different animals and finding the patterns and recognizing which animal is what. It's a good like game schooling game.
Yeah, and teaching your kids, when to lie, when not to lie, help them become politicians.
Anyway, but speaking of lying, James Hudson, the creator of this game, I saw one time that he said that this game is great because you can learn your kids' tells. And I'm like, oh, snap! Why didn't I think about that? I mean, my son is too young for this game, but now I'm like, this is something to keep in mind.
Definitely. I'm afraid our son is going to be like me.
That he can't lie? Is that a bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing, but
I mean,
you just can't play games like this.
I mean, bluff, not lie. That just means I'll win. I'm sorry, we shouldn't say lie, we should say bluff. It sounds better. Especially since I'm good at it, apparently. But anyway, so let's move over to the cons. What are some of your cons?
So the biggest thing I can think of is you could just get a normal deck of cards and play bluff or BS or the 100 other names that this game has, but it's not as fun for kids in my opinion. Like, it's a normal deck of cards. I don't know.
Yeah, you could use a normal deck of cards and play this game. You wouldn't have the tokens and what they bring to the game, but yeah, you could just use a regular deck of cards. But I like the fun aspect to it, and yeah, like you said, it's more entertaining for the kids. My small con would probably be the box. It's a tough box, but it's kind of like big and isn't as thick as I thought it would be. I feel like it probably could have just been a more compact tuck box if you could fit the tokens in it. So I don't know. I feel like that the box is going to wear out faster than the cards will, but that's a minor thing. So those are our thoughts about Barnyard Roundup. If this sounds like a great game for you, if you have kids or know any kids, this is definitely a fun one to check out, and it's also very entertaining. So I'm going to tell you a story. So when we played this game, like the second or first time, I can't remember, but Bryce confidently puts down 2 cards. 2 cards. I can't remember what animal, so we'll just say pig. He puts them down, 2 cards, and he's like, 1 pig.
I was telling the truth.
But you put down 2 cards, so obviously you were lying because there were 2 cards, but you said you would only put down 1 pig. So the other card was obviously like a crow, and it was just hilarious. And when I pointed it out to him, like, he lost it, I lost it, he had to like walk away because we were all just laughing so hard. If you want to see evidence of this, it's somewhere on our Instagram, in our stories. They're like fun moments or something. Please go watch it. It's hilarious.
The link to the Instagram will be in the description below. Oh.
But anyway, so that's what we're saying. Like, it can be super entertaining just because it's such a simple game, but then adding that bluffing aspect to it makes it really hard, right?
Yes. So difficult.
But anyway, so we recommend Barnyard Roundup. We've had a lot of fun with it.
So if you've enjoyed this review, be sure to like and subscribe. We do a lot more reviews here on YouTube, and we also have an Instagram like we mentioned. Link will be in the description below.
Go check out that funny moment. All right, I'm Allison.
I'm Bryce, and we're Better Half Reviews.
Happy gaming.
Have fun. Here I actually have a burger token. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. I'm not even bluffing and I can't say it right. But you don't want to collect those pesky crows. Pesky.
Do they have lots of pecks?
Oh.
Oh. Because a bird.
Yeah,
peck.
yeah. I was thinking peck.
I got that. We're good. It's good. It's all fine.
It's fine. It's just fine.